noted that women must break the bias to allow for more women in the National Assembly as well as managerial and executive positions. This, according to her, will make women's voices heard and their interests represented. Senator Tinubu stated that although there are hurdles to be crossed, women must put aside their differences to achieve a common goal. She also advised females to make a conscious decision to support other women and continue to push for inclusiveness in electioneering, the legislative arm, and across the board. Senator Oluremi Tinubu assured that she will continue to advocate for women and ensure that rights of the girl child of women are promoted without bias. The month of March is noted globally for celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The 8th of March every year is set aside to celebrate women and serve as a call to action for accelerating gender parity across the world. In pre-colonial Africa, particularly Nigeria, women played a crucial role in social and economic activities to ensure and to enjoy some status as division of labor was done along gender lines. In this special report, TVC News senior correspondent Sharon Ijaso examined women's roles in societal development and the need to ensure implementation of policies that promote gender balance.
In the pre-colonial era, Nigerian women played crucial roles in social, political, and economic development of the society. The women were practically central to trade. They were major figures in long-distance trading with enormous opportunities for accumulation of wealth and acquiring of titles. One of such is the prestigious chieftaincy title of Iyalode, a position of great privilege and power in Yoruba society. Yoruba and Hausa legends described many periods when women were either kings or heroines. Such women include Queen Moremi of Ile-Ife and Queen Amina of Zaria, Ma Olufumilayo Ransom Kuti, who are notable legendary figures as they are powerful queens in the Ondo and Daura histories. But with passage of time, things began to change and the status of women witnessed decline. The most serious threat to the influence and privileges enjoyed by women occurred during the 20th century when patriarchy combined with colonial changes to alter gender relations. At that time, male chiefs collaborated with the British colonial administration in collecting taxes and governing. Gradually, the position of female chiefs declined in importance. When the economy became increasingly geared towards production of cash crops for export, Nigerian men and European firms dominated the distribution of produce like rubber, cocoa, groundnut, and palm oil. Women pushed to the background were forced to shift to the production of subsistence farming. A previous land tenure system that had prevented land alienation gave way to land commercialization, favoring those with access to money gained from the sale of cash crops. Western-style education also favored boys over girls and thus largely excluded women from many of the new occupations introduced by colonialism. As the world celebrated 2022 International Women's Day, it became pertinent to tell the story of women who were able to break the bias and others who were striving to. I met Kende, Zainab and Grace, who shared the story of how they are surviving despite all odds. For Kende Oyeyemi, she spoke about her fish business in the Badagry area of Lagos, from the collection point to the preservation stage. Her story is that of pain and inability to expand the business.
Bí àwa bá ṣe rẹja ń bí bẹ́ẹ̀ làá náà ṣe máa kanra ta lọ́jà. Àtẹ̀lé wa ta kó má ní gé rẹpẹtẹ kan, bọ̀tá ṣáṣì máa ta, bó tẹ̀ tún jẹ́ 2,000 kàbí 3,000, ó máa lé sí. Ìgbà míì dẹ̀ máa wà kó sí bá ṣe kanra ta tó, owó yẹn máa tún gé lọ. At least tí bá ti rẹ̀ tó invest ní sí tí mo ń ṣiṣẹ́, ṣe bá àwọn ọmọ mi á ṣá máa jẹun. Èmi gan mo ní rí tọkọ rò máa ṣiṣẹ́ mi máa jẹun. Sásìkò máa dẹ̀ rówó fi raṣọ, máa rówó fi tọ́jú àwọn ọmọ mi. Torí èmi ò kàwé. Bí mo ṣe wà kì í ṣe pé bí mi ò kàwé kan lọ títí kan. SS2 ni mo ti stop school mi, tí mo ti fi gba oyún ọmọ mi, tí mo tún fi lọ mọ́. Tó bá ń pè mo dẹ̀ rẹ́ tó máa rán mi nù, mo ṣe máa lọ. Ọ̀tìwà tó dẹ̀ ti rí bẹ́ẹ̀ mo ti jókòó. But èmi ò kàwé, ó dandan káwọn ọmọ mi kà. Yóò lè sọ bóyá tán ti ẹ̀gbé lẹ́tà wá fún mi kàbí tán gbéwèé mi ò mọ́kọ mi ò mọ́kà. Ṣé máa tún gbàdúrà pé káwọn ọmọ mi má tún lè kà ní. Tí ìyá bá ti ẹ̀yà kúrí, àwọn ọmọ gbọ́dọ̀ tún yá kúrí. So mo ṣe ń try, tí mo ṣe ń sáré gbogbo ìgbìyànjú mi pé káwọn ọmọ mi lè kàwé. Ibi tèmi ò dé ní rere láyé káwọn ọmọ mi lè débẹ̀ kán lè jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
Out of 144 countries, Nigeria ranks 122 in closing the gender gap. The question is, how much does a woman earn compared to that of a man in Nigeria? Right now, from research, it states that Nigerian women earn 77 cents out of every dollar that they will get for the same job that a man would do.
Is a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for special seats for women in the National and State Houses of Assembly.
Honorable Taiwo Uluga is a Nigerian politician currently serving as the lawmaker representing Ayedade Irewole Ishokan Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives. The people of Ayedade Irewole Ishokan constituency in Osun State have always produced female representatives to serve them.
Yeah, since the inception of democracy in Nigeria, 1999, women as always we have been representing that constituency. The first representative that we have and the first female speaker in Nigeria, Right Honorable Patricia Olubumiete, the big sis. She came and she spent 12 years at the National Assembly here and rose to the office of the Speaker, House of Representatives. We have good legacy. It means they are doing well. Without mincing words, they are doing well. In Ikire precisely, we had the meeting. And some of the leaders that spoke that day, they said, even after the expiration of my own tenure, that they beseech all the leaders in the constituency that they should give them another female honorable member. That the male, this one was coming from the male, our leader, that even after this one, please give us another female member because they are doing well. She is doing well. The person that is representing us now, she's doing well. Why do we need? So you male, please look for another thing that you would do. It is as serious as that in my constituency.
More agitation and political advocacy are required to ensure more women are represented in governance.
The percentage proposed in the provision in the clause, which was to guarantee that women have a minimum of 35% at all levels of party administration, should be changed to 15%.
With the love we have for our women, that they should not go empty-handed. Honorable colleagues, let's give them the 15% at least for a start.
Recently, the National Assembly rejected 3 bills meant to promote gender equality and inclusion in the country's political scene. Women from different spheres of life took to the National Assembly to protest against the move that many described as insensitive.
Of the House to come out here to explain to women what happened yesterday and to assure us that they would be able to redirect, the situation.
Stella Dean Jacob, a veteran journalist and director of news at TVC Communications, says Nigerian women should demand for more elective positions and inclusion rather than limit themselves to 35% affirmative action.
What is wrong with women having 70% and men having 30%? You know what they say about you educate a woman, you've educated a nation, right? You know the role that women play in society. You know the role that women play on the home front. So it is for that reason that I'm asking women on this day to basically go back to that Beijing conference and walk back and rethink the focus of it. It behoves all women now to speak with one voice and basically understand if you want it so badly, then you must go after it. It's just like people who on election day will sit down in their homes and not vote, and then somebody emerges, then you start to bellyache and you start to say, how could that person have emerged? You can't make a difference if you decide to sit in the shadows and refuse to come out and take a stand. If you sit on the fence, if we sit on the fence as women, then it will continue to have, we'll continue to have situations where you have more men in government. You continue to have situations where you have a lot of fantastic women who are gifted, who are intelligent, who know what time of day it is, but because they won't bring themselves forward. If you don't bring yourselves forward, nobody is going to hold a gun to your head.
Economic models across the globe provide that when women are employed, their earnings support the health and education of the family. Hence, the need for the business community to support more women cannot be overemphasized. Alan Onyema, the CEO of Airpeace at different fora, says women run the airline and the growth has been rapid.
In Airpeace, in everything I've done, the most important thing is I have an open mind. It's not as if I went out there and said, oh, I must employ women in this position or in that position. But most importantly, I've always had an open mind to accept all people. What happens over time, all over the world, not just in Nigeria anyway, is that people tend to look down on women. So they don't have an open mind towards accepting women in certain positions. Once it's a woman, the first thing is they're taken aback. They want to think about it. I don't think about it because I have a mindset that tells me that the woman is even better. So it was very easy for me to take certain decisions. Now, I have several women pilots in Airpeace. I decided to do what I did in 2018 by doing an all-female crew flight in order to show the world that what men can do, women can equally do. And I was on that plane, I trusted my lives on them. It's not just the pilot. Or starting from check-in process, we make sure that all the people that worked on that, they were women. Starting from the counter, the check-in counter. Then the flight dispatcher was a woman. And the person who plans the flight was a woman. The person who signed out the aircraft to perform on that day was a female aircraft engineer. It wasn't a male engineer that worked on the plane overnight. that certified the plane to be able to fly the next day. It was an engineer, a female engineer.
There are critical socio-economic issues faced by women in Nigeria. Top on the list is lack of financial empowerment, poverty, and lack of access to quality education. Grace Chinoso Aniche is a graduate of public administration from the University of Port Harcourt who rides a taxi in the air service industry. For her, it's the only means of survival, as many job offers she got came with the huge price of being sexually harassed.
I went for the position of PRO. So I went for the interview, I did very well. So I was asked to resume on Wednesday evening. So but before then, around 12, the manager of the place called me that he wants to see me at the office by 12. I said, okay. I got there, we started talking. You know, he said, that he complimented me, that I did very well during the interview and all. I said, okay, thank you very much, sir. He said, hope that we'll work together without no issues and all. I said, sure, no problem, sir. He said, okay. So while we were talking, you know, he left his seat. He came in front of me and sat on the table while I was sitting facing him. You know, he tried arranging my hair for me. I'm like, okay, let me just keep it cool. Let it not be that I'm being too forward. So while we were talking, he said, you know, you're a very beautiful girl. I smiled, I said, thank you. You know, all of a sudden he started making advances on me, telling me, you know, if I play along with him, that I'm going to retain my job very well, that aside my salary, that he'll take care of me. So this was the only job I could get to start up. It has not been easy. But this is the only job that I got. Okay, you know how to drive, they test run you, you go to the boat office, they check everything, that your car is okay, and you go check and you start your work without nobody trying to take advantage of you, trying to look for one other thing to do for you before they can give you the job.
According to the data by the United Nations Women, equal participation and leadership opportunities for women in political and public spheres are critical to achieving the Sustainable Developmental Goals by 2030. At the current rate, gender equality in the highest position of power will not be reached for another 130 years. The UN Women Country Representative to Nigeria, Comfort Lamti, spoke about the need to break the bias of gender inequality.
We have a continent where close to 40% of girls in Africa marry under the age of 18. So when you think about skill set that we need for development of this continent, when you think that many girls are marrying at the age of 15 and 16, you're taking them out of the educational sector. Many of them are not going to be able to realize their full productive potential. And we're on a continent where we face very many complex challenges. So we need all hands on deck. We need to make sure that women and girls can fully participate. So yes, we have to address issues of early marriage, because it is important for girls to have right education and to be in school longer. And we know the statistics also show that GDP, we have to move beyond adoption to implementation. We need to put money in terms of the implementation, because it's fine to just sign it, but how do we actually make sure that it's implemented? So we need to work with multiple stakeholders to put in place action plans and budgets behind it, so that we can make sure that these laws actually translate meaningfully into progress for women and girls.
The world needs to agree that gender biases must be taken into account to improve women's ability to take advantage of incentives. Women in business world have been seen taking leadership positions, especially in the financial sector, oil and gas sector, and a few in the maritime sector.
Skills.
Dr. Ibilola Amao, a major player in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria for more than 30 years, explains what it takes for a woman to be successful in any field.
First, you need to know how you're wired to succeed. So sometimes you would need a mentor, a coach, you may need a network, a support system, sisters, aunties, uncles, family that can really, really tell you the truth and help you reach out when you need help and support. It's not easy to succeed on your own. I'm who I am today by the special grace of God, by very supportive family network. My sisters have been a pillar, my husband has helped me, I've had understanding, colleagues, friends, members of staff of Lonodec, teamwork. You really need to be a team player.
Gender discrimination is as old as creation. Over the years, women were made to believe that their rightful place was in the home front as housewives, producers, and minders of children. Female genital mutilation, son preference and its implication for the status of girls, access to education, female infanticide, and early marriage and dowry continue to impede the growth of the girl child. Other factors like teenage pregnancy, nutritional taboos, and practices related to child delivery, as well as violence against women, are some of the challenges women have to fight daily. Husman Zainab, a female farmer, says she has been into farming for more than 30 years. She tells me how she has been able to venture into mechanized farming due to lack of access to loan.
Gona ba namu bane aron shi muke muna yin noma sai abinci ya nuna mu raba tsakiya mu ba mai gona nashi mu ma mu dauki namu. To ai akwai matsala ko tunda ba gonan mu ba. Kuma ga maganan ba taki, ba garmazo ko ba gaskiya ba na wanda mutum zai duka wahala ne. Ko ba ai akwai matsala babba ma kenan. Mu kuma aikin gonan ne muke ba mu da wani business.
For women like Kende, Grace, and Zainab, who against all odds are striving to break the bias and excel, they hope that in this modern world where women have assumed prominent roles in the economic, political, and social circles in different societies, government and the men will be more supportive of their female counterparts. To them, this will enable women exhibit their potential for the development of Nigeria.
Thank you.